So I am part of a working group representing 21 clubs, including yours. Wes and Sharon are on the working group as well, that is putting together a new fundraiser for all the clubs in the district. It's called the Woohoomanity Challenge. Let's see if we can pull up the screen here. Are you all seeing the Woohoomanity Challenge now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. So the name Woohoomanity represents our two primary goals. One is for everybody to have fun, and the other, humanity, is to make it clear that we're doing this to help make a difference in people's lives. The challenge is for cyclists, obviously, but it's also for non-cyclists, which I think means that it's for everybody in the club, and it's for helping to make a difference in people's lives. Just as the Ride to End Polio down in Tucson piggybacked on the El Tour de Tucson, a long-time organized ride, this is part of the Denver Century Ride. It was originally scheduled for June. It's been pushed back now to September 12th because of COVID. It is a fun ride. Don't let the name Century put you off. There are rides as short as 10 flat, easy miles as part of the Century Ride. All of the, let's see, what we can probably do here now, let's see if this works. We'll see if we can give this a try. Are you all able to see and hear the video? Great.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will point out that this is pre-COVID times.
I just think it's cool, the different terrain. You get the metro at the beginning. It's like commuter in Denver. You get Lookout Mountain. Now we get to get on back on flats.
It's a great opportunity to get out there and ride and see some of Denver that you would normally see.
Very overwhelming scenery. You guys both got a nice place here to live. So I try to come out here every year to visit.
Ride with a few of my friends, and everybody's been super nice and just really respectful riders.
The pleasure they have of going 100 miles or 3/4 century or a half century, some for the first time, some for the 100th time, but they all seem to have a great time no matter what. Really good weather, a lot cooler than we thought it was going to be, and no wind. Really good day.
Yeah, good stops. Everyone had some good snacks. That's awesome.
Force you to push yourself a little harder than you normally would.
You don't normally go on a bike ride with 1,800 people.
This is my 6th time. Amazing day.
I'll ride the Denver Century every year.
This is definitely the best century I've ever done.
So it's called a ride for a reason. It's not a race. Electric bikes are allowed. It's one of the most popular rides in Colorado. It's typically has 2,000 or so riders on it. Regarding COVID, at a minimum, the Denver Century Ride will be meeting all the public health guidelines for outdoor events, and by mid-September, those guidelines should be much better established than they are now. There's a long page on the Ride's website that talks about all the steps that they're going to be taking to protect participants' health. For example, you saw in the video that there was a wave start. You saw the pace car leading out the first wave. That made it look like a race. It's really not. This year, the problem with waves is that it means that everybody's bunched up right there at the starting line. This year, instead of waves, they're going to be windows. Everybody's going to be assigned one of 5 30-minute windows, and you can start anytime within that 30 minutes. And that's an example of some of the creative things that they're changing up to account for COVID. The other nice thing about September is that I think that by then we'll all be going crazy and really looking forward to an opportunity to spend some fun time with all our Rotary friends outdoors. Now that's for the ride. For the people who are not cyclists, there are all sorts of volunteer activities. You could be a course marshal. If you have a pickup or SUV that can carry a bike, you could drive a support vehicle. You don't have to have any bicycle aptitude to do it. Anybody who's having trouble, you would just pick them up and take them to the next aid station where they'll have a mechanic that can help them. There's going to be aid stations that you can, as an individual or as a club, help staff. We'll have a Rotary hospitality tent. Among other things you could do at the tent is you could, if you're a masseuse, you could give massages and accept donations, a way to raise some extra money for your club. If you can face paint, you could, again, the same thing, raise some extra money for your club. We could maybe get some future Rotarians face painted while we're at it. If nothing else, at the Rotary hospitality tent, you could serve as an ambassador for Rotary. There will be lots of people. This is right, the hospitality tent will be right next to the street party that's there at the finish line. What may be the funnest thing to do and still qualify as, quote, volunteering, would be to picnic and cheer on the riders. That's an important thing to support our riders who are doing this. You could picnic along the road. You could do a club picnic at a park. There are 5 parks along the route. You could, here's another fundraising idea to raise some extra money in addition to what you do during the challenge itself. Have a cornhole tournament, charge everybody a $20 entry fee with half the proceeds going to the club and the other half going to the winner. Along with all that, if you do a picnic, make sure you remember to cheer. The making a difference is about helping to fund your club service projects. As I mentioned, this is inspired by the Ride to End Polio. What got this started actually was learning that over the last 10 years, the Ride to End Polio has raised $17 million for District 5500 down in Tucson. It kind of raised the question, well, why can't we do something just like that? It's based, like the Ride to End Polio, on the friends and family donations. You all have probably all received emails from friends or family saying, hey, I'm doing the MS-150, can you support me by making a donation? This is along those same lines. Got something in the way here. I did mention that it is district-wide, but there's no money being taken off the top except for actual hard costs. We've got 21 clubs in the working group. We hope that all 60 clubs in the district will participate. And what's important to know is that all the proceeds that you raise go to your club. There's about 8% that goes off the top to cover the credit card processing fee, the bookkeeping cost of keeping all the money straight and distributing it out to the clubs, and miscellaneous marketing costs and that sort of thing. We're also seeing this as an opportunity to help attract new members. We've got great looking jerseys for sale that are eye-catching. We can fly the Rotary flag with a Rotary t-shirt. We'll be selling, when you register, you can buy a Rotary face mask if you like. Don't know if those will be required. I've been riding with face mask and don't actually ride with it on most of the time, but whenever I'm passing somebody, or more often when somebody passes me, I just pull it up over my nose. And then we'll also, every participant, rider and volunteer alike, will receive a fill-in-the-blank calling card, contact card, where you just before the event write in your name and cell phone number. And that way, if you're in the process of talking with somebody about Rotary and they look like they might be interested, you have something that you can give them as a next step for them to take if they want to explore Rotary. It's a timely event. We had no idea when we were starting to look at this late last year how timely it would be. The challenge that we're facing is that just as more and more people are needing our help because of COVID, a lot of clubs are having to cancel fundraisers. So this is proving, we thought that this would be new money that would fall on top of all your existing fundraisers, wouldn't cannibalize the same sources. It's turning out to be replacement money for many clubs. You're able to use your proceeds however you like for your own service projects. We do encourage you to use at least some of the money for COVID recovery projects. And also the district is expecting that every club will still meet its polio goal. September 12th should be good to go. Should be great weather for the ride. Denver Century Ride, as mentioned, is meeting all health and distancing guidelines, and we'll all be ready to have some fun. It's easy to sign up for. For riders, it's a two-step process. The first one is to go on to the Denver Century website and sign up. The site's already open. You can register. There's a fee of anywhere from $64 to $99 that covers all the costs of putting on the ride. It's the permits, the police, the street party, the beer, the lunch, the aid stations, all of it. And that way, the people riding will be paying for the event just like everybody else alongside all the other riders. And we are able to then tell donors that all of the money that they donate will be going to worthy cause. Then everyone, riders and volunteers alike, sign up on the Woohoomanity Challenge website to fundraise for your club. It's a free fundraising platform for getting donations, very similar to the MS-150 if you've been through that process. You'll get your own personal fundraising page. You'll get a sample email that you can simply copy and paste into your own email and send out to everybody. It's payback time. It's time to cash in on all those donations that you've made to others. Over the years, you've probably given a lot of money away to friends and family, and this is a chance to get some of it back for a cause that you really believe in, your Rotary Club. Also, when you're on the Woohoo website, volunteers will choose what sort of activity they want to participate in. I mentioned that there are different routes. They all start and finish up here at the shops at Northfield Stapleton. That's just north of I-70. And the 10-mile route goes down to beautiful tree-lined Montview Boulevard and then back up at the finish. The 25-mile route goes downtown to REI and then loops back. The 50-mile route goes a little farther west and then back down along the Bear Creek corridor. And the 85-mile route goes all the way out to Golden and then loops down to Chatfield Reservoir and back. The 100-mile route is where it gets pretty hairy. If you people want a real challenge, you riders, it goes up Lookout Mountain up to Mount Vernon and then down US Highway 40 alongside I-70, which is the fastest descent I've ever done in Colorado, and then back down to Chatsfield and back. So those are the routes that you have to choose from. There are 6 aid stations along the way, one every 10 or 20 miles with water and snacks. And one of the nice things is that no matter which route you choose, even if it's the 10-mile route, you will be able to truthfully say to friends that you've done the Denver Century Ride, because they're all part of the Denver Century. Volunteers will choose an activity. There are lots of activities at the start and finish line. We need volunteers to help out with all sorts of things, ranging from the hospitality tent to there's a valet bike corral to you name it. And then there are all sorts of activities along the routes, helping out at aid stations, picnicking. There are 5 parks along the route. The Bear Creek Valley or the Bear Creek Greenbelt Park is probably the prettiest place and the biggest place to watch the riders go by. One of the biggest goals here is for everybody to have a really fun day. Everybody gets handed a beer as they cross the finish line. You get lunches included in the price. There's a street party that's included there at the finish line. We will have a yellow jersey, a Woohoo yellow jersey for the person who raises the most money as part of the Woohoo Challenge. We'll also have a governor's cup. That's the Stanley Cup on the left. I know it's hard to tell the difference, but that's the governor's cup on the right, and that will go to the club that raises the most money on a per capita basis. And so that's our way of trying to level the playing field for big and small clubs alike. To get on board, clubs, I think your club has already decided that you want to do that, and I think you've already selected a captain. I'm not 100% sure of that, so I won't say who I think it is, but they should contact me right away for additional information about what their role entails and how we can help support that. The club needs to choose a volunteer activity if you all want. And some of them are on a first come, first served basis. And there are also sponsor opportunities to raise additional money. If you bring in a sponsor, the sponsor fee that's charged goes to your club. It's riders need to first register for the Denver Century Ride and choose your route. And then riders and volunteers alike, everyone registers on the Woohoomanity website to raise funds for your money. And bottom line, everybody hopefully will have, not hopefully, I guarantee it, we'll have a fun day and we'll make a difference in a lot of people's lives. So that's where the Woohoo comes in. I probably should have paused all along the way to answer questions, but let me go ahead and open it up now. Do we have time for questions, Wes?
You bet. You bet. We got about 10 minutes.
Okay.
May I interject something?
Please do.
Our new Zone 27 has a lot of big, heavy hitters. We have all of California, etc. District 5450 is the #2 district in the entire Zone 27 for Polio Plus. We've had this designation for a little while, and I can't say enough nice things about what 5450 is doing. This is helping us stay up there to show 5450 really cares about polio. We really can make a difference on this. So kudos to 5450, and let's see if we can add some more to it through this ride to help end polio.
One more thing, I'm going to be the team captain this year, so you'll be hearing more information from both Wes and I over the next few weeks here. We're not that far away from June 20th, if you think about it. So we'll get going and we'll get riding, and then we'll get into later in the year.
Thank you, Sharon. I didn't want to put you on the spot, but you're the person who I thought was the captain.
Yes.
I'm glad to hear you confirm that. Elaine, with regards to polio, the original thought was that this would, like the End Polio Ride in Tucson, all the proceeds would go to polio. We got feedback from clubs that they'd be a lot more motivated if they got to keep some of the money themselves that they raise for their own service projects. And so what prior to COVID, we said, okay, well, we want all the clubs to commit to 1/3 of the money they raise going to polio. And I think we'll probably return to that next year. That's the plan. But this year with COVID and so many clubs having to cancel their fundraisers, the decision was made to eliminate that requirement for this year so that everybody could use the money they raise as replacement for their usual fundraisers that they're having to cancel.
Understood, and no problem with that, because it's all important. It's all money that we use to give back
Right.
and help other people. I just wanted you to know how much 5450 is really doing throughout the entire zone. And we're getting all sorts of accolades because 5450 is really stepping up. As Kurt put it, we're able to run and play with the big dogs.
Other
Any other
questions?
questions for Pat?
So
Bill?
I have a question, Pat. So I'll do the 10 mile, but I don't have those real cool shorts. So somebody give me some cool shorts, please. And I'll do the 10
We'll
mile.
have some for sale on the website, and you can have.
Oh, there are? There are?
No, next year we'll have to have some.
Okay.
It was a big enough challenge getting the jerseys designed and approved by the Rotary brand police and all. So we've gotten good feedback on the jersey and on the T-shirt. Next year we'll have to expand to socks and shorts and bibs and the whole works.
Yeah, there we go. So Sharon, I'll join your team, but I'm just doing the 10 mile. Thank you very much. Oh, shorts, some shorts.
Any other questions for Pat?
I think we did talk about having the ability for people to even stay at home and ride. And I didn't remember you hearing that when you were giving your presentation. Can people ride on their trainer at home if they can't get out or where they are in the country?
Yes, in fact, that's what some clubs do when in participating in the Ride to End Polio. You'll see photos on their website of 5 or 6 people, and it could just be one person who, instead of going outdoors to do the ride, is doing it indoors. So that's absolutely a possibility. And kind of the same thing with volunteering. I mean, even if what your volunteering consists of is picnicking in the park with your club and having a nice picnic lunch, barbecue, and cheering the riders on, that qualifies as volunteering to support the ride. And that gives you all the excuse you need to sign up for the challenge and get a personal fundraising page and send out an email to all those friends and family that you've donated to in the past.
I have a question. I'd really like to ride the ride, but right now I'm scheduled to be out of town that day. How late can you register? And if you can't make it, can you do a virtual ride or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, you know, here's an idea. Two thoughts. One is if you've got a son or daughter or grandson or granddaughter, maybe they could ride in your place. And you could then say that, hey, I'm not actually the one doing the riding. My gosh, if you had a cute little granddaughter who was doing the riding for you, that might bring in even more money. Or you could say, hey, I'm not riding, but my fellow Rotarian is riding in my place because I won't be there. So will you help donate to me and I'll pool my money with my friend, and it's all going to a good cause.
Okay, thanks.
And to answer your question about how long you can donate, up until what date, and I think it's 3 days before the Denver Century Ride cuts off registration, and that's probably when we'll cut off too.
Okay.
Hey, Pat, one question here. The Woohoomanity itself looks like it's been around a while. I'm seeing schedules back to 2015 at least, but I can't find a website for it. So where do you get the most information on our event here?
Sure, good question. The name Woohoomanity has been around for probably a couple of years. It's actually a name that I came up with in the middle of, you ever had sleepless nights where your mind just won't shut off? I was working on founding a public benefit B corporation, ended up doing it, and the name of the corporation is woohoomanity.org. And so that's where the name comes from. I ended up not pursuing that company, but the name seemed like a perfect match for Rotary. It conveys the idea of having fun and helping humanity. So I am licensing the name to Rotary for a whopping $10 one-time fee. That's where the name comes from. The website I actually took live yesterday, but I asked that you not go there yet because I thought it was working just right, and I made the first donation and it got credited to me. I am right now, I'm on top of the individual fundraiser list as the top fundraiser because I made one donation to myself, but it didn't show up for my club. And that's kind of important that the money you raise gets credited to your club so that you guys can win the Governor's Cup. So we're in the process of trying to figure out what that problem is. It hopefully will go live today. We'll do a soft launch tomorrow or Friday and launch it with an email to all the Rotarians in the district in about a week. So just stay tuned and look for that email in your inbox in about a week or so.
Okay. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, guys.
I just want to add one, we're about out of time. I just want to add one thing, and that is that for those of you who are not bicyclists and haven't been around it, the Ride to End Polio in Tucson was probably about as much fun as I've had in a long time. And this event, I think, is a great opportunity to raise money, but just as important, it's a huge opportunity to promote Rotary. I mean, at the Ride to End Polio in Tucson, there couldn't have been more than a few hundred Rotary riders, but with the hospitality tent and the people walking around and the aid stations, you couldn't go anywhere without seeing somebody in a Rotary shirt or vest or whatever. So I think on a couple different levels, this is a great opportunity.